What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we've got another live fantasy football mock draft for you, but with a little bit of a twist because today's video will be focusing on the zero running back strategy and its validity for the 2023 fantasy football season. We're back on Fantasy Pros with a 12-team full PPR mock where we will be selecting 4th overall. So that should put us in a pretty good position to test out the zero running back strategy. Our roster: 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, and then 5 bench spots. But that's pretty much it. So let's kick it off. And while we wait, a quick reminder: if you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. If you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe. Let us hear it in the comments section. Do you agree, disagree with these picks? What are your thoughts on this strategy? Do you employ it? Why or why not? But with that being said, let's dive into this thing. The first 3 picks have been made as I expected. They are running backs: McCaffrey, Eckler, Jonathan Taylor. And that's why, I kind of picked this 4th overall spot. It is probably the earliest that a wide receiver would go because I think you'd be hard-pressed to pick Justin Jefferson ahead of those top 3 guys, even ahead of Barkley or Bijan Robinson, even though it will happen. And, since we're on the topic of it, with the zero running back strategy, if for some reason you're unaware if that is, as the name suggests, essentially it is kind of waiting a little bit longer than typical to draft your first running back because, normally that would be in the first round or even having 2 running backs after the first 3 rounds. But here what we're going to do is we're going to make our first running back selection probably in the 4th round. So going 3 straight pass catchers and see how that works out. Every single season it's a little bit different with new players coming into the league, with ADPs changing. So the validity can change from year to year. And if you hit on some of these middle round running backs, then this strategy really, really can pay off. So let's see how it goes for us. We're going to go Justin Jefferson here. I think that he's the 101 at the position this year. The last couple of years, he's been sensational. I don't really see any reason for that to change this season. Now, I do want to be upfront with you guys. If this was a normal, typical draft on draft day, I'd be taking Barkley or Bijan Robinson ahead of Justin Jefferson. But for the sake of the exercise, we'll go Jefferson here and then see what's available to us in the 2nd round. See if we have some, really good options and who they might be. And also on the flip side, kind of break down who I would select otherwise if we weren't going by this strategy. So looking at the draft board, wow, we had the only wide receiver selection in the 1st round, Justin Jefferson. That's a little bit atypical, I will say. Jamar Chase usually doesn't go in the 2nd round, so this kind of breaks our way, I guess, to some extent, or not, since some of these running backs are going to be depleted. But hey, we get a higher tiered wide receiver to add as our number 2 guy here, and it probably will be, as Fantasy Pro suggests, Stephon Diggs. It's between him, Devontae Adams, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I really like Devontae Adams, but with the Jimmy Garoppolo injury coming to the surface very recently here, I'm a little bit worried about it. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I have 0 issues with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I really like him. I'd probably take him ahead of Devontae Adams with that Jimmy Garoppolo issue. But I do like the offense and the quarterback situation more so with Stephon Diggs and Buffalo. So I'm just going to go with Diggs here, and then let's see what happens in the 3rd round. Do we get lucky? Do one of those top guys fall to us? But no, we don't have such luck. Devontae Adams goes at the end of the 2nd round. Amon-Ra goes with the, first pick in the 3rd round. And man, this is a hell of a start to this draft. McCaffrey, Devontae Adams, Amon-Ra St. Brown. And here you can see, look, if we go by the suggestions, Dalvin Cook, a very high suggestion. Jalen Waddle, who would be another pass catcher, the 3rd pass catcher here, not nearly as high. And that's because, going with any set strategy into a draft will often lead to you reaching on players. And that's why, I typically tell, especially newer people getting into fantasy, to, maybe avoid something like this. Go best player available. Because again, you don't want to be the person that's reaching on a player that you can get several picks later. Because I mean, look, if we had the first overall pick and we went with Justin Jefferson, that would have been crazy, right? Just using that as an example. I mean, if you give me the option to start with McCaffrey, Devontae Adams, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, or Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, or really whatever I'm gonna be putting together here, I'd go with the latter 10 times out of 10. But I still think we're gonna be able to put together a solid squad. Let's see what happens. So right now we're gonna go wide receiver again here. I'm not gonna reach on a tight end this early. I'm gonna go with. It's either going to be Waddle, Higgins, Devonta Smith, or Chris Olave. And I'm probably going to go with Jalen Waddle. I think he's going to be the most consistent of the bunch. Olave is right behind him. For PPR formats, I have Waddle ranked ahead of Higgins and Devonta Smith. But I'm going to go with Waddle here. Again, very, very close between him or Chris Olave. So just to show you our roster, we already have 3 wide receivers. They are as follows. They are Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, and now Jalen Waddle. So here we've gone 3 wide receivers to kick this thing off. This is a good time to start paying attention to the running back position. And look, I'm going to show you the draft board here because I think we narrowly missed out on some guys like Dameon Pierce. Unfortunately, I was hoping Miles Sanders would drop to us, maybe a J.K. Dobbins. That doesn't happen. So here, where, again, there's some really good value at the wide receiver position in these middle rounds. That's why I'm hard-pressed to say, yes, for sure, go with the 0 running back strategy. You still have DJ Moore. You still have Michael Pittman. You still have Chris Godwin, DeAndre Hopkins, who is a free agent now, but, you assume he's going to go on a top-notch team. So what I'm thinking of doing here is, even though, the value is better to go with DJ Moore, for example, I got to go running back here, folks. And the running back that I'm considering is either Rachaad White or James Conner. I'm going to take a little bit of a risk. I'm going to take Rachaad White first, and then I'm going to go with James Conner. Obviously, Leonard Fournette no longer in Tampa Bay. Rachaad White should be the workhorse guy. Let's see if, we get lucky at the running back position and James Conner falls to us or not. So looking at the draft board, James Conner actually goes at the 411. That is unfortunate. Cam Akers then goes at the 501. We got to start filling out the running back position, folks. And even though, a Joe Burrow, Justin Fields be very, very good value, I think we got to take somebody like a DeAndre Swift here. Maybe a Javonte Williams, but I'm already hurting at the running back position. It's tough for me to justify taking a guy coming off a major injury with Javonte Williams. So I'm going to go with probably DeAndre Swift here. Maybe in the next round, an Alvin Kamara would be a decent option. But again, there you have to realize you're taking on the risk of a potential, suspension. So keep all those things in mind. So right now, even though our starting wide receivers in our flex position are awesome, running back is hurting. Running back is hurting a little bit. But let's see if we have any good running back options still left. So we kind of get lucky with Javonte, Montgomery, and Alvin Kamara all still there. I'm going to pass on Montgomery just because I think he's going to be a running back by committee. And now we can decide whether, we go with somebody like an Alvin Kamara or maybe we go with Justin Herbert. Let's look at the draft board and see if the guys picking in between our selections have quarterbacks or not. So one of them does, 2 don't. One of those picks is probably going to be a quarterback. I could see running back also being selected here. It's tough. It really is. We can potentially take a gamble. I would like to come out with at least one of these picks being Alvin Kamara for us. So really the only way to guarantee that is to take him right now. So let's just do that. Again, this is what happens when you kind of put yourself behind the 8 ball and, you force a pick like this. So let's see if that running back run occurred or not. So Javonte Williams did go. I could have seen if we didn't take, Alvin Kamara here, that also having been Alvin Kamara wouldn't been too shocking. Unfortunately, Justin Herbert went a pick right before us. I would have loved to have gotten Justin Herbert. I think he's a top tier quarterback. Trevor Lawrence also still there, who I really do like as well. So here, we've kind of added 3 running backs: Rashad White, DeAndre Swift, Alvin Kamara, some high upside guys. And that's kind of what you have to do when you put yourself in these situations. I'm not taking David Montgomery here. I already alluded to it. I'm probably going to take right now Trevor Lawrence to kind of round out this roster, at least the starting roster, right? So he's my highest ranked quarterback at this point in time. Let's add Trevor Lawrence to the squad. And now we're in a point where we've made the majority of our selections. We can at this point now kind of get back to the typical type of draft and get best player available. So, kind of looking at the situation right now, I'm looking at somebody like A.J. Dillon, a Brian Robinson. Jamal Williams would be a very, very good handcuff for Alvin Kamara, again, if he gets suspended. And honestly, that's probably the way I'm leaning right now, because if he does get suspended, at least we have that answer for the first 6 games. And we know that Jamal Williams can get it done. He's shown that in Green Bay. He's shown that in Detroit. So let's add him here, paying up for a handcuff. But again, it's kind of one of those situations where I do think we were forced into it. Looking at tight end, that's kind of the next big position that we have to address. I'm looking at Njoku. I'm looking at Dalton Schultz as the top 2 guys at this point in time. I'd probably, thinking who to give the edge to. I think Dalton Schultz, I would go with him. I think that C.J. Stroud is going to be a little bit more reliant on him than Deshaun Watson with David Njoku. So, let's go with Dalton Schultz here. Cleveland has a lot of pass catchers: Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore being added, DPJ. With Houston, not that many established pass catchers. Dalton Schultz can be that for them. So we go with Dalton Schultz here. And now we really only have 3 more selections to make. So let's see what we can do here. Let's look at the running back position again. Let's look at the wide receiver position because, to nobody's surprise really here, after going wide receiver with the first 3 picks, we haven't addressed the wide receiver position since, which is kind of crazy. So this wouldn't be a bad time to do so. And I'm looking at the names. I'd probably go with, honestly, Michael Thomas, highest upside here. I know he's been injury prone, but at this point in time, you kind of just take a shot on one of these guys. And I think that it would be him. Elijah Moore also, again, is tempting there in Cleveland. So let's go with Michael Thomas. I realize I have Kamara, I have Jamal Williams, so we're going a little bit heavy on the New Orleans Saints, but that's okay. Here I might go with Allen Lazard because I'm looking at the running backs right now. Nobody that I'm really in love with. Just kind of taking a look at the situation. At this point in time, all have question marks. Is Deonta Foreman going to be the guy in Chicago? Is it going to be Khalil Herbert? You don't really know, right? Leonard Fournette, still a free agent. Jerick McKinnon, old. Is he going to duplicate the pass-catching success from last year? I mean, I guess we can take a chance on that. We can take a chance on it. Again, can't have too many running backs. And then we're going to make one last selection here. So question is, who is it going to be? I might just go quarterback or tight end to get some depth at that position. So quarterback, I'd probably go with somebody, a high upside guy here, maybe like an Anthony Richardson. But since we waited on tight end, I'm going to go with a guy that showed a lot of potential last year in Greg Dulcich. I think he's a decent option. Gerald Everett, also not a bad option. So let's kind of conclude it here with Greg Dulcich. I'm very curious to see what grade we're going to get. I'd guess not too high. and a B plus, kind of funny. But look, so again, just to highlight, we went zero running back strategy here, folks. So we went wide receiver heavy in the first 3 rounds. Jefferson, Diggs, and then Jalen Waddle. So great. Our wide receiver set, but then we were behind the 8 ball. We had to go running back heavy in the next couple of rounds. We had to reach on a handcuff with Jamal Williams. But hey, I mean, that could potentially pan out for us, but we're putting a lot of pressure on some middle round running backs that aren't sure things. And that's what always worries me with the zero running back strategy. But hey, let me know your thoughts. I tried my best here to put together the best overall roster after we started out wide receiver strong in the first 3 rounds. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at alldaypigskin to continue interacting with us there. Again, let us hear in the comments section, agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have. We'll do our best to answer them all. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.